To T-Boys TV. We are back again with another Hat Show. And obviously we are here to talk about that Exeter game in the League Cup. It didn't go the way we expected it to. And then obviously we will get into the Everton game. Obviously we won't be doing player ratings for the Exeter game because obviously we weren't able to watch the whole game, only see bits of it and what other people have said, to people that were there commentating, etc. But yeah, episode 121 of the Hat Show, and like always, I'm joined with my dad. How are we, Dad?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good.
Good.
Everyone's
cool. Yeah, absolutely. Big up to everyone that was waiting. Apologies, we were late. But yeah, we are here now. But yeah, obviously Exeter, like I say, I am, smiling right now, but I'll tell you what, we was not smiling after that result. We were, and the thing is, I said going into it, well, no, I'm not sorry going into it, but I said to you privately, if we lost, but we actually scored, yeah, we'd still been, annoyed, but we wouldn't be as annoyed. And the problem seems to be what it has been for, a lot of this season so far, and it's just putting the ball in the back of the net. Yeah, we've scored, 3 goals altogether, but, 2 of them have been penalties, and one of them, has been, a consolation goal, really. There hasn't really, been, good build-up play as of yet. And it is worrying, obviously the lineup going into this was exactly what I said, bar Johnson. But again, I didn't really mind that because, he's a youngster, he's been playing a lot. He's been in a lot around the team. Obviously, like I said, when I went Rotherham away last season, he was doing individual training. So he's been in and around the squad. And it was good to see, it's good to see players like that coming through for us and getting them first team opportunities in these type of games. But like I say, other than that, it was exactly what I'd have went with, which was obviously Krul, Anderson, Menji with his first start, Giles on the left, Doughty on the right. I knew Doughty would play, and it's not ideal, and I understand why people would say that because how key he has been for us this season. But at the same time, because of the depth when it comes to that right wing back position, I always thought it was going to be him. Also, a factor of how well we played in the last round. I just thought they would play him. And in the midfield was Chong, Ruddock, and Berry. Obviously, Ruddock was the captain in this one, and then obviously Elijah and Woodrow up front. So exactly what he said there. And then the bench was Bell. Good to see Bell finally got a rest, by the way. Obviously, it's been a while. Brown, Berger, who's obviously another youngster, Burke, Kabore, Luca, Morris, Chio, and Shea. So, a decent bench. Obviously, you've got a lot of options. Obviously, 2 youngsters on the bench, but you've got your Morrises, your Burks, your Chios, etc. But yeah, like I say, the lineup, I can't really complain. Because it's exactly what I said, bar Johnson. And I did, forget about it, sort of him in a way of, putting him in. I would have probably put him in myself, to be honest. But yeah, it was, no really complaints for me. Especially for a second team. We've looked over the years and we said it, compared to that Stevenage game, for example, that was a poor, second team, let's be honest now. Whereas this one, should, like I said, going into when I've done my score prediction, it should really be more than capable of winning the game. So, yeah, What was your thoughts when you saw the lineup, Dad?
Well, it's, like I say, it's exactly expected. So nothing wrong with it. It's like, as you say, it's good to see Johnson getting a chance as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's as simple as that, really. But going into the first half, we had a few chances by the looks of it. Berry had a few chances. He had a shot that was, tipped over by their keeper. He also had a shot that was blocked. He had a few opportunities himself, but again, it was just similar to what we have seen this season, where we're just struggling to, put the ball in the back of the net. Defense didn't really seem like it had to do an awful lot. From memory, there was a shot by them that Krul, for me, would have had it covered, but it's always a decent effort. But they had a few opportunities, but I'd say we had one, and it looked like if someone was going to take the lead in that first half, it was going to be us. By the sounds of it and what we saw. Obviously, we did get a few yellow cards as well. Menji and Chong. Again, I can't really judge them because I haven't seen them. But it seemed like we would have took the lead based on that first half, really. But what did you make of it?
What you we listened to it on the radio, and so it's hard to judge. But we were all over them. We have a few chances, dangerous situations, etc. But we just weren't clinical. As strikers, for me, weren't in the right areas. The people that were striking, and that were, the midfielders. I think Woodrow had one chance, and after that, he just done nothing. So yeah, they're obviously going to defend quite well. They've got a decent manager. They were confident, but you need to have that extra edge. Being a Premier League team against a League One team. So yeah, it was a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, like I said, it's come down to what it's come down to a few times, especially recently, and that's putting the ball in the back of the net. But yeah, like I said, if it sounded like someone was going to take lead, it sounded like it would have been us. But going into the second half, obviously we made a lot of changes with just under half an hour left. Bell come on, Brown come on for Woodrow, Chong came off for Chio, Kabore came on for Doughty, and Morris even came on for Elijah. And that all of them were at the same time, bar the Morris one. But for me, it is a little bit worrying that that we had to even bring on Morris in this type of game. I'd love to have him rested, obviously for the game tomorrow. But then again, it was only 15 minutes, but still, it's worrying if we're relying constantly on him. Because you got to think about it. He's the only attacker that scored at this current moment in time in the league. I'm not going to talk about the cup now because we're out of it. And yeah, it just is a bit worrying because you look at the season where we were so reliant on Elijah. That was, let's be real, that was the reason we didn't go up because his goals and he, how badly injured he was. You saw it when he come on in the playoff semi-final second leg, like I said numerous times, he couldn't even walk properly. So it was a bit worrying in that sense. But then you thought we would go on and get a goal. Definitely go on and win that game, especially if Chio coming on as well. But we didn't. We did have a few chances. By the sounds of it, when they come on, but not an awful lot. And then obviously they took the lead in the 83rd minute. Mitchell with the goal. Seeing it, it's a very frustrating goal to concede. Kabore, he is very good going forward, but defensively, I'm not too sure, man. I'm not too sure. You look back at the goal, he's taken all the time in the world, and it's cost us. It's cost us. it was a bit annoying that, by looks of it as well, the communication between him and Krul, because Krul, it looked like he was going to come out, but then obviously he's seen Kabore there, so he said, you have it. That's what it looked like, based on what I saw. But then Kabore's, he has messed it up, and it's cost us a game. It's cost us a game, and yeah, it was very annoying because then obviously that player got sent off, 2 yellow cards. But yeah, very frustrating goal to concede. What did you make of it?
Yeah, simple. You should have dealt with it. Simple as that. This is the problem with some of the Premier League players, isn't it? Like they used to playing in the academies, etc. Especially Man City. You've got all the time in the world, probably. You know what I mean? In this case, you need to brush up on that because you haven't got that opportunity. So, it is what it is. As you say, going forward, he's pretty decent. But, hopefully that's just a one-time error from him because he'll be playing.
Yeah, exactly. And, he's going to have to, it comes back to what I say, the lack of options we have at right wing back. Obviously, it's only him that's actually the wing back, the full backs. Obviously, Doughty's a midfielder mainly. Obviously, he's doing a very good job there, but it's another, sign I've been saying for years. I'm not going to sit here and say years upon years, but since last season, even when we were winning pretty much every week, I was saying we need to fill that role because, even last season, you had midfielders going on in that position, Fred, Clark sometimes, and it was similar with that left centre back role, which we have obviously filled to a certain extent, bringing in Menji. Obviously, he's still got Potts who can play there as well. Bell, it's not ideal to play Bell there, but he can do a job there sometimes. So it's just one of them, but it was disappointing. It's disappointing. Obviously, people say, and it is true, our main priority is the Premier League, but at the same time, like I said, if we lost this game and scored, people wouldn't be as worried. But it's the fact we haven't scored in this game, and it's worrying, man. It's worrying. I've been saying this is the thing because we actually we defend pretty well in games. Yeah, we've conceded 4, 3, etc. But again, look at the quality of them sides, and at the same time, there's been patches where we've been really good. It's just moments we've switched off, and certain errors, for example, like the goal Brighton scored, the third one. You can't afford to do that at this level. And stuff like that. So it's just one of them, really. It's just one of them. But yeah, it was disappointing, because, like I say, it was a good opportunity, depending on who we would have got in the next round, to maybe get to the quarters. It's not our main priority, but still, it's worrying that we're struggling to score against a League One side. Let's be real. And the fact, yes, it was a second team. 10 of them players will not start tomorrow. I'll say that confidently. It's still, we were saying the second teams were very good, EXETER, for a game like that. Even games where they've been on the bench, we've been saying, they've looked like they it's a good bench. Looks like it can cause a threat and help if obviously needed in games. And, obviously we love Roddick and that, but at the same time, captain in this game didn't really step up for me. I was saying in previous games, rightly so, in my opinion, that he deserves to have the chance, but I guess it will have to be him tomorrow. That's an early prediction and what I'd probably go with because Lukonga's out. Obviously, more injury news has come out today as well, which I'll get into, but if there was them options, he would not be starting. So he's sort of, for me, he's got away with one there. That the players that are out at this current moment. But yeah. Final things you'd like to say on that Exeter game, Dad?
Yeah, well, we should have at least tested them. Bottom line, and the front two were just appalling. Like, come on, if you got struggling to score against League One teams, then that's not a good sign at all. And I think at the moment, some of the decisions we've made with strikers like and things like that, and maybe not even trying to get someone who's confident. Do you know what I mean? Who's got the ball rolling, take a gamble on someone lower down the leagues, even possibly, and have that threat. We haven't got it, and that's a massive problem. Unless they suddenly turn it around, come off the bench and score a couple of goals or whatever. Just can't see it happening. I think at the moment, I just can't see where the goals are coming from. You can't just be relying on Colton. So that's a problem. Attacking midfielders we've got, we'd expect them to chip in with some goals. That ain't happened. So we should have got. It's a sign. It's early on. It might be good for us. Identifying, and then you have to make certain decisions. So you can't sign anyone till January, but potentially you can recall players. So, Lukonga getting injured, Rob Edwards has come out and said, yes, all right, we've got players. But you recruited him specifically to work with Nakamba and be in that double pivot role, especially away. Yeah, and even at home he played it. And now he's injured. And I don't think we've got the defensive midfielders to do that. They come in and do a job, but that's not. They'll get found out. I'm telling you now. And you've loaned Campbell out. You might have to recall him. But that's it. It is what it is. We'd have had a home tie against Middlesbrough. Would have fancied that. It's done.
Yeah.
It's done. We've still got the FA Cup. We'll see where we are. January. And see if that's worth it or not. If we're struggling, we won't care about that, no matter who we get. It's just frustrating at the moment.
Yeah, and it's also frustrating because the fact, obviously we weren't in from round one, but the fact we actually managed to get out of the round, we haven't managed to do that in previous years. We're thinking, yeah, maybe we could, get something, going and progress again. Especially them being a League One side, like we said, and like I said, if we lost that game, say we lost on penalties, I don't think anyone would be as as nervous sort of thing, worried. It's just the fact we're just not scoring.
Yeah, we've lost. Every season we've been put out by lower league teams anyway, and we've still done all right in the season. So you've got to factor that in. But the fact that we're struggling to score is the bigger problem. Like you said, Stevenage, it was 2-2. We lost on penalties. Newport, it was 3-2. Grimsby, they battered us, but we know that was there was youngsters just thrown in there who were both out on loan. We had to totally, but.
And Elliot thought that was his first game since my birthday, and that wasn't even for us. Do you know what I mean?
So it's just the scoring, right? Unless we suddenly, I know there's other formations in the bag, etc., which there has to be. We're just gonna have to ride it out, see what happens. Simple as that. Some of them strikers need confidence boost by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
What we can say.
No, it's just frustrating. It is very frustrating, and like I say, the defence was fine. Obviously, Kabora and the goal should be doing better, but other than that, they're pretty sound in the game, which you would expect anyway. Let's be honest. But it's just worrying. We're struggling to score. Like I say, 3 goals so far this season. I'm not looking at the Gillingham game. What's the point now? We're not through. And 2 penalties and a goal, a consolation goal in my opinion. So I don't know, man. I really don't know, to be honest. But yeah, let's move on from that game. Let's move on from that game. Like I say, we're not going to do player ratings because we didn't get to watch the game fully. But yeah, let's go through some comments and then we'll get into Everton. Big up to Luca. He says hi. Big up yourself, mate. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, Chris is a madman. He literally travels all over the place, and he's actually managed to go to the Canelo Alvarez fight.
Who's he
So
fighting?
yeah, I can't remember the guy's name, if I'm being honest, but yeah, it should be a good one from what I've seen based on comments, but I can't remember the guy's name. Chris will be able to tell us, but obviously because it's there, it's going to be a late one, so I'll probably just watch the highlights the next day or something. And then Chris on this game, he says, was shocked by this result. Thought lineup should really be beating Exeter. I don't think you lads have ever done well in the League Cup. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'd say previous years we haven't. Especially since we've done the hat shows,
Yeah,
or even just started. Me doing vlogs. The first ever vlog on the channel was actually the Stevenage game.
I
And
think we've done all right in it since like League One, and when we beat
no,
like
obviously we have actually won it once, but that was years upon years. But yeah, recent years we've done terrible in it, especially from when I've done content like this, we've done appalling. Like we struggled to get past the first round, except this year, but we were automatically in round two. So it's one of them. And even that Gillingham game, we narrowly beat them. And I knew it was going to be like that. Obviously, I did say 3-2. I just know what we do make it hard for ourselves. And yeah, with the form Gillingham were on as well, I knew they were going to, play well as well. Yeah, I think they are. Like I say, at the same time, it was obviously. I'll confidently say 10 of them players will not play tomorrow. But yeah, I think some of them are. I really do, and it doesn't help with certain. I'm not making this an excuse, just facts. With certain injuries for me, like Clark, for example, I think he's a massive miss right now. The creativity he brings, that sort of thing. I think even Osho being out is affecting us at the moment. But yeah, I do think they are to a certain extent, especially players like Elijah, because he just naturally is a confidence player. You've seen that. Obviously, that's leading to him not starting at the moment, that sort of thing. So yeah, with certain players like that, I do think so. What do you think, Dad?
yeah, similar. Um, but a lot of it is the gelling in, the new players bedding in, and getting that all together team spirit as well. A lot of it is that, and you can see that. Because Giles again is he produced 14 crosses or something in the last game. 6 kind of on target. And again, he needs to for some of his crosses and that to come off as well. But I just think going forward, probably not, he's not going to start like the away games. Depends, how we start doing that. But currently, we need to be quite defensive and try and counter and see what we can do. And that's it.
Yeah. No, I agree. See him starting a lot more at home at this current moment
not
in time.
doing well in a game and we can push it forward, then we can put him on as an outlet and things like that. But we've got to utilise our squad more than we ever did before. We've got to think of Rob Edwards, every single game is totally different, yeah. And you've got to think when you can utilise them players or not. Probably not for this game for me, Giles. But yeah, it's things like that. Barkley, marquee kind of signing, not really. He's been injured obviously as well, but nothing so far. And he was brought in to specifically go, lads, look, we can do this in the Premier League. He's a quality technical player as well, and we need them players to get going as well. There's a bit of that. The players that we've signed, the star players we've signed, they haven't really done nothing, have they?
No.
That's the problem as well. once that does happen, because they're good players, you know, forms temporary, classes permanent. Yeah, they'll get better. But it's just wait, and this is the sort of game that could happen. But
Yeah.
when you're just thinking with your head as you should do, you're going to think in different ways. But unless a player comes out and then just grabs hold of it, Chong absolutely runs the game, which we know he can on his day.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy Hannibal that we were apparently looking at, like, I watched him play for Man United the other week. I think it was in the Champions League or something, and he was decent, you know.
Yeah, he's been playing a lot of games for them recently. I've seen it.
And we know Chong's capable of that. We haven't seen it yet.
No, like the first couple of games, you know, we saw glimpses of how good he is on the ball, like you say, but we haven't quite seen, you know, him actually doing something like getting an assist or, you know, even chipping in with goals, like you said earlier, you know, that sort of thing. So, yeah, definitely agree on that. Jackie says, "Hi, Ty Daz, really disappointing." Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, we were vexed, very vexed. Chris says this could work both ways. Getting knocked out of the cups could help you not having to play more games, but I'd rather stay in them. It makes help with rhythm and sharpness, and I don't like 1 week a game personally. Yeah, I think it will benefit us to a certain extent because obviously, like I say, our main priority is to stay up. You know, we all know that. But yeah, and at the same time, it goes back to also what I've said in previous years where, you know, if we had less games the season we didn't get playoffs, you know, we'd have maybe, and obviously the injuries didn't help, we'd have maybe got second.
Yeah, but what I think as well also, and it's already kind of seemed to have worked a little bit, is when you have that extra little bit of time, then it gives you that extra little bit of time to rectify and go, right, that's not working, that we really need to like change and adapt in this way and in that way, and it gives them more time to go over stuff. If they've got good coaches and that analysts, etc., at the club, which we believe they have, then that's just going to benefit us, and we can just do as much as you can, you know, get them players their limit.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, no, I hear that. But yeah, it was, you know, Rob Edwards did also say in this as well, you know, yeah, he's probably gonna, but he did say we did want to win this game. So that's another annoying, you know, factor that team didn't do enough. You know, see, I said what I said about Ruddock. You know, Woodrow and Elijah, like you say, you know, not good enough. I expected a lot better from Woodrow. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he scored. You know, especially with how good we know his finishing is, and how highly it's been rated by, you know, Rob Edwards, Lockyer, and etc. etc. So yeah, and Elijah, you know, thought it'd be a good game for him to get goal, but yeah, it wasn't. Big up to Villa TV. He says, "Big up, mate. Big up yourself, mate. Hope you're well." Yeah, that's it. It is Jamel Charlo. I think I said his surname right. He's undisputed super welterweight. I know from what I've seen, people have. What's that?
Well, Canelo was like, you know, I'm sure last few couples he stepped up to light heavyweight at one point, so he'll probably batter this guy. Probably should be too strong for him. Like welterweight's quite, you know, low weight really. So dropping, it'll be a big welterweight if that's the level it's being fought at.
Yeah. No, I'm not too sure. I just saw it the other day. But yeah. Just think when you start winning in the league and picking up points, you'll be fine and boost confidence. That's all it takes. No, I totally agree. It's just we need to get that soon. We need to put the ball in the back of the net to do that. And that's the thing for me. We're just not really doing that. Obviously, we do have a double game week, obviously, as we know. So, you know, against two teams for me that are going to be in the battle with us, I know I did say Burnley higher at the start of the season, but based on right now, obviously we are ahead of them slightly when it comes to, obviously it's only goal difference, but still. So, and Everton, they've been in there for the previous amount of years, didn't they? So I expect them to be in there again, and even their fans know they will be. But yeah, it's all interesting, man. It's all interesting. And then Jackie says Woodrow is terrible. Never had faith in him. Yeah, Jackie and Shay are not big fans of Woodrow. The thing for me is, I think he's, like they say, his finishing's very good. We have seen it, but we haven't seen it enough. Don't get me wrong. I know he doesn't start every game in that, but even the games he's come on in certain games, we expect better from him. Let's be honest. Obviously when we signed him, like me and my dad have said numerous times, we were more excited with Morris. Again, it was only because we knew more of Woodrow. Obviously, he played for us when he was younger, but yeah, I wouldn't say his time at Luton so far coming back has been overly great. I wouldn't say it's been terrible, like absolutely awful, because we've seen strikers like, unfortunately for me, again, Musgrave, where it's been worse. But yeah, it's one of them. Anything you'd like to add on it, Dad?
Yeah, it's just not quite working out at the moment for him. It's one of them where we do make errors when we sign. I can see it. Maybe it was a bit of sentiment there as well. He has scored a couple of good goals, but not enough. Not enough.
That's the thing.
That's it. And I think that it could be in his way out potentially in the summer if he doesn't start picking up for me.
Yeah. And then just the last comment for now on the boxing quickly. He has to step up to £168, which is Canelo's weight. And then his weight is 154, so it'll be interesting. And Chris fancies an upset. Like I say, I'm not gonna predict it because I haven't really seen the other guy fight. But fair enough.
It just sounds ominous to me. Unless the other guy's like a bit of a baller, can step up and down, but he'll have to be a pretty decent fighter to be stepping up to that weight.
Yeah, it's quite a big jump, isn't it? But that is that. But yeah, time to get into the Everton game. So obviously we play again another Saturday 3:00 game. Obviously we've had that back-to-back in the Premier League, and then obviously after that we don't have a 3:00 game until I think it's about 4 weeks from now. Obviously not in Forest, but yeah, Everton away. Like I say, it's a team that are going to be in and around us, throughout this season. And yeah, it's an interesting one. Obviously, it's at Goodison Park, another away game for us. Unfortunately, when it comes to away, as of yet in the season, we haven't quite picked up anything. Could have and should have really, in my opinion, picked up at least a draw at Fulham. Obviously we did have a very good performance in that game. Obviously their goal, was stupid how it stood, as we know. Obviously a handball in the build up to it. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Like I say, Everton haven't won at home yet this season. But like I say, we haven't got anything away from home. So, two teams that are going to be in the battle. A bit of insight, like we always do, and then I'll go through what Rob Edwards has said and all of that before we get into how we're feeling and score predictions, lineups, all of that when it comes to that. So obviously in the table, as it stands, obviously we are obviously 18th. Since our game against Wolves, we did jump up 2 places. Obviously, because Sheffield United took that very heavy defeat, 8-0. And then obviously the Burnley game, they lost to Man United narrowly. But they lost, which obviously put us above both of them. And then obviously Everton sit 15th. They're actually 3 points ahead of us right now. So yeah, they obviously got 4 points this season. I'll say, obviously, they beat Brentford in their last game in the league. Quite an impressive win, to be fair. Yeah, Brentford had a day off, but to still go there and win 3-1 is, you've got to give them credit. Not a lot of people would have expected that, even their own fans. And then, obviously, their other point was obviously a 2-2 draw against Sheffield United again, another team that'll be down there alongside us. But yeah, this is the first meeting between Everton and Luton in any competition since October 2007, with the Toffees winning a League Cup tie 1-0 at Kenilworth Road. Luton are winless in their 6 league games against Everton. Not great stat to hear if you're a Luton fan. Drawing 3, losing 3. With this, the first such meeting between the sides since a 1-1 draw at Goodison Park in March 1992. After their 3-1 win at Brentford, Everton are looking to pick up successive league wins for only the second time since the start of last season. Previously doing so in September, I don't know why I said so weird then, to October 2022 against West Ham and Southampton under Frank Lampard. Manager Sean Dyche last enjoyed back-to-back Premier League victories in February 2022 with Burnley versus Brighton and Tottenham. Luton are yet to win a game in the Premier League, as we know, in 5 games, drawing 1, losing 4. In their Football League history, only in 1959 to 60, 7 games. 1971-72, which is also 7 games. And in 1974-75, 9 games. Have they ever failed to win their opening 6 or more matches of a campaign? And in the last one on here, Everton have lost their first 3 home Premier League games this season without scoring, only losing their first 4 home league games in a season once before, and that was a very long time ago, 1958-59. There's only been 4 occasions in the top flight history of a side not scoring in their first 4 home games. Most recently, both Crystal Palace and Huddersfield in 2018-19. No side has ever lost their first 4 home games without scoring in top flight history. I'm pretty sure it just said that. But yeah, that is that when it comes to that. So there is some stats there you don't really want to hear if you are a hatter. But yeah, obviously, we are obviously looking for our first win. Sean Dyche Everton have obviously got back-to-back wins. Obviously, they beat Brentford. And then obviously during the week, they progressed in the League Cup away at Aston Villa. So that was, again, that was a shock to me. I'm sure it would have been to a few others. Yeah, Villa rotated a little bit, but still, I thought it was a good enough Villa team to get a result, to be honest. The Goodison Park faithful were yet to see the home side score this season, as we said. So yeah, and then obviously Rob Edwards going into it. Tuesday night was a disappointment for us, but we have to look at the league form as well and try to improve again on that. From Brighton to Wolves, I've seen improvements. We've gone on a quick journey and a really good journey. I want us to keep building, and going the right way. Saturday is another opportunity to do that. We are coming up against a difficult Everton team, a team on the front foot, athletic, organised, as Sean Dyche's teams always are. They've got some really good individuals. They are coming off the back of 2 good wins as well, so they will be confident. And also, this is not what he said, but this is what I'm going to say. Everton haven't won consecutive games for a while. So there's also that as well. This is a tough game, as every Premier League game is, especially away from home, but it's a game we are looking forward to. The reaction has been good since Tuesday. The lads have been buoyant, I think that says, and that's how we've got to be. We had a knockdown and an off night. We've got to deal with it, lick our wounds, and we look to improve. We've got to stand up and perform. Obviously, the last meeting was obviously our League Cup game, like I mentioned. And obviously, back then, we were in League One, and they were in the Premier League. And, it was a narrow victory back then. When it comes to team news, Rob Edwards has said Ross Barkley has trained the past 2 days, but town manager Rob Edwards says the former Everton midfielder won't be in contention to face his former club on Saturday, which is a bit gutting, because, Rob Edwards did originally say it was too early for the Exeter game, which obviously I didn't mind that at all, and he'd be back for this game. Would have been good as well, being his former club, like mentioned there, and especially with how the midfield was, on Tuesday. Granted, it wasn't the main midfield. Still, Ruddock not playing so great. It would have been great to put Barkley in this for me, but is what it is. The boss has also said Tom Lockyer is fit for selection and is trained after a slight concern over the skipper's fitness in the past week. Lone midfield, obviously, Lukonga's out. We heard that the other day, which is obviously very, very gutting. Especially, it's just our luck with these lone players, isn't it? Just the injuries. We had it with goalkeepers a lot, in the championship, fighting for the playoff years and that. Now we've got it with Lukonga. And then obviously the ones that are still out are out, like your Oshos, your Potts and your Clarks. But yeah, apparently most of them are back on the grass. And then the referee is Anthony Taylor, so a referee, that's known. He'll be taking his 350th top flight fixture at Goodison Park this weekend. He first began refereeing in the Premier League in 2010. 45 yellow cards and a red card have been handed out by Taylor across his 9 games so far this season, which is a lot in that many games. And in Luton Town, we last had a game ran by him in 2008 when the Hatters fell to defeat against Shrewsbury Town in League 2. To be honest, that must have been probably his early days then, because I've predominantly known him as a Premier League referee, and obviously he does. The other teams abroad in the Champions League at times. But yeah, he's the main referee, of course. The assistant referees are Gary Beswick and Adam Nunn. Not too sure of them. The fourth official, Sam Barrett. VAR is Paul Tierney, so that's going to be interesting, especially after what I've seen of him. The decisions he's made over the years with VAR since it's been in. So yeah, that is that. But after saying all of that, how are you feeling going into this one, Dad?
Not that confident, to be honest. I do think we'll see performance, because most of the players that started against Exeter won't be starting this game. They've got that little bit more consistency about them, but I just think there's a lot of pressure on us now, and just feel like this isn't going to be our first win. So
yeah, no, that's fair enough. Like you say about the lineup, like I said, I think I confidently say 10 of them players that started on Tuesday will not play, even with the midfield issues we've got, etc. But yeah, I'm not feeling too confident as well. Everton as well, like I said, they're on the back of 2 victories. They haven't done that for a while. So yeah, it's a bit worrying. And Goodison Park, as much as they've been down there over the years, it's always a hostile place to go. And it can be very difficult. And we're yet to pick up anything away. As much as they're yet to pick up anything at home, we're yet to pick up anything away. And I'm not gonna lie, if there is a time for them to do it, it would just be tomorrow, wouldn't it? It would be typical. But we'll go through some comments quickly before we get into the lineup. Yo, what's up? Big up yourself, mate. Big up yourself. Hope you're well. Thank you very much. As Jake Howes once said to my dad, we are going to need it. You know what I mean? And that's how it is right now. We've just got to be honest. So yeah, thank you for that. Chris says, always tough at Goodison Park, but still questions asked about Everton. Can they keep this up, or will they turn up when they want attitude again? There's still not trust they can keep this, in my opinion. Yeah, we will see tomorrow, because then, say they were to get a result, that obviously is 3 in a row. So yeah. So yeah, there we go. I was a bit later, Spencer. But yeah, big up yourself anyway, mate. Hope you're well. And Jackie's not confident either. Usually she tries to be, she puts in the positive scores, but she's not feeling it tomorrow. And you just got to be honest. Like I said, if we lost against Exeter, but we scored, I don't think people would be as, as nervous. But I just think it's that, really. And that's, that is what has been what I have been saying for certain games. But because in spells we're very good, defense. I'm not worried about the defense. It's just where are we getting the goals up there other than Morris? That's where I worry. Spencer's putting his score predictions, so I'll save that and we'll go through that at the end. Putting your score predictions now as well and your lineup predictions. So we're going to do it a bit different today. We are thinking. So obviously I'll say what obviously I'll go through, what I would go for, and obviously my dad will do his. But yeah, I think what we're going to do is share both screens, obviously not at the same time because you can't do that, but one by one, and then just do it that way. But obviously I'll get on mine first, like I say. So for me, and we're using a different thing as well this time, and people have already done their little changes now. It's a pretty good website, Football Formation Creator. But yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, so obviously my lineup is not exactly like this. It's just already in. But Kaminsky, of course, he is the number one in the league. So yeah, it goes without saying, really. Formation wise, I have gone with what it was against Fulham, which was two up front. Obviously, your wing backs, three at the back, and then like two midfielders, and then you got one CDM sort of thing, sort of like that. So Kaminsky in goal. Back three for me, I'm gonna say. What am I gonna say? I'm gonna go Bell because he didn't start the other day. And Menji apparently was impressive in spells, but I'd go with Bell because he was rested and we've seen him there. Do you know what I mean? I didn't see Menji the other day the whole game, so I don't know. So I'm just going to base it on what I do know and what I have seen. It's not ideal to put Bell in left centre back, but again, to be fair, when he was there against Wolves, he was decent, wasn't he? So go over in there. In the middle, it's going to be Lockyer. For me, and I would go with Lockyer anyway, especially, Rob Edwards saying he's available. And then on that other side is interesting because you could go Burke, you could go Anderson. Do you know what? I'll go Burke. And obviously Anderson did play the other day. Obviously, from what I heard, and that he was good again, but you could even argue to go Anderson on the left, which I would understand if people do that. I was thinking of maybe changing it up to that, to be honest. But do you know what? Actually, I will put Anderson in. We'll put him in. Bring Bell on if needed. So yeah, the left side, I will go. This is Bell. This is Bell for me. This is Bell. The right side, I'd love it to be Doughty. But then again, he was the one player that I said out of the 10 that I'm confident that they won't start, like, as in he will be the one that might start, out of the 11. But I reckon it probably will be Kabore. And I'll put him in, but he needs to step up. He needs to step up and improve. Midfield, Nakamba as a CDM. Obviously, if Lukonga was in, I'd love to go with a different formation, go two CDMs, but obviously he's not. And then, obviously, Barkley's out. So I'm going to go with, it's got to be Chong and it's got to be Ruddock, like I say, for me, because, obviously, Barkley's out, Clark's still out. Berry's just not going to start. Let's be honest. I don't think he was awful the other day. He did have a few chances, but still expecting better from him in a way. And he just hasn't started a game, has he? So, in the league. So it's not going to be him. So yeah, that's the midfield I'd go with. And then up front, I would go with a few shouts. Obviously, you're going to put Morris in. Do you go Brown or do you go Chio? Me personally, I'll go Brown just because, we've seen him up front with Morris, obviously, in that Fulham game. Chio would be a very good guy to bring on if needed, which, let's be real, it probably will be for his creative spark. And, depending on how the other players are doing in the other positions, we could have a little play around and see, where can he go? Because he can go in many different positions. We could even go two more holding ones and then put a cam on, make him, be up there with the front two. We could even go with the three like we did against Wolves. I wouldn't be too disappointed, even though it is away, to go with that. He could even, if Kabore's playing poor, you've got Doughty as well, but then you've got Chio as another option. Obviously, we see him play very well there for Ireland against France. So, you've got them options when it comes to that. But that's what I would go with against Fulham. So, yeah, that's my lineup. That is my lineup there. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. There's a few changes you could make, but yeah, I'll go with that. I'll go with that when it comes to mine. Yeah, Dad, are you going to say yours or?
Should I be able to present it or not?
Yeah. Just do what you did beforehand, and I'll get it up. But yeah, the people that put in their predictions, like I say, I'll star them and I'll go through them at the end. And yeah, if you haven't already, make sure you do put them in. Yeah, this is my dad's lineup. What he'd go for. So have a little read and why you'd go for it.
Yeah. So basically, obviously, Kaminsky in goal. I think we'll go like 5 at the back. Especially away, like we'll start off like that. So we have Bell on the left. Obviously, potentially can make them forward runs. Kabore the same. And the Kamba, obviously Anderson, Lockyer, Burke. For me, Menji, I think it obviously be on bench. He had a good game, but I don't. He's not going to start this game for me. Definitely having the Kamba back there, 100%. Obviously, I feel Ruddock's going to start because we haven't really got anyone else for me. And obviously, we're coming back as well, defending if he needs to, as is Chong. Chong's been doing that again. If Barkley was fit, maybe he'd be starting. Clark, but Chong is obviously going to make either way runs, and then Morris up top on his own. But I'd put Chio like just behind instead of Brown, because we put Brown against Fulham, and they might kind of be expecting that, but Chio might offer something different. So I'm thinking something like it's going to be interesting to see what we actually go with, but that's what I'm looking at going with if it's me. So yeah.
No, that's fair enough. But yeah, no, that's understandable. Definitely. A lot of you putting your score predictions, big up. Jackie has said she would start Chio as well. Yeah, I wouldn't be disappointed or annoyed at all if he started. You could argue that he deserves it.
Yeah, exactly. It depends what formation we go with, because we've got them outlets of Giles and Chio, but are we going to be brave enough to just use them in an away game? And basing on the last game against Fulham, who he probably rated higher than Everton, I don't know. It'd be interesting. It's going to be interesting, but I could see it being something like that. I don't think we're gonna, we obviously you can play like that at home, then wingers and stuff like that. But away, you have to utilise it a bit more. And obviously, Giles is not going to start, but maybe he could. Obviously we're putting Bell there. I'm putting Bell there, but with the other cover, there's still 4 other defenders there. Then potentially, you could put Giles there. But if we're getting pushed back, then it's no point having Giles on the pitch, if that makes sense, in their moments. So that's why I've gone with what basing it on the last away game. So, yeah. But I feel like Chio can, if he does the Brown job, what Brown done against Fulham, running in here, there, and everywhere, and that, then he could be dangerous because he's got pace.
Yeah.
I don't want to see if he can actually defend when needed to as well. Obviously, I watched the Ireland France game, I think, and that's basically what he was doing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So it could be something like that. But yeah.
Yeah. Not say, even if he isn't start, depending on how the game's going, who's playing poor or not so great, he can replace him probably because he can play a lot of positions, like I say, that right wing back, even come on as a cam, maybe change it up, maybe even, depending on how the game's going, we could even, go to a three up front, similar to what it was. Maybe.
But you've got to set your stall out, plan out, whatever, and then take it from there. If they're suddenly not playing very well, then you can adapt a little bit,
Yeah.
Like that.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. Big up to Jamie. He says, "Hi lads, big up yourself, mate. Hope you're well." For me, I mean, I was thinking of someone, but I don't really think it's realistic from their squad, and that is Dan Juma. But I just don't think it's realistic because his wages. But yeah, I'd like someone like that. Keepers, I think we're chilling. Because I don't think Pickford's awful. We've seen it for when he plays for England. How good he can be. I just think in that Everton team, he's just getting shots peppered at him, and half the time you just can't deal with him because the defense is just so crap. Let's be honest. So yeah, there wouldn't be any keepers. I'm looking at their other players. Godfrey, I don't think he's an awful centre back, to be fair. But again, I think we're all right when it comes to centre backs. Like I say, at the moment, I'm not worried about our defence. So it wouldn't be any of their defenders. They've got a few good ones, but like I say, I'm not worried about our defence. Corey, definitely not. He's obviously a former scum player. Idrissa Gay, I mean, he's decent. He's decent. He's a midfielder as well. Maybe him. McNeil's always a player I've rated. He hasn't literally always got the goals, but still. Yeah, I don't think that's an unrealistic one, actually, McNeil. So I'd say McNeil. He's obviously gets a few goals as well, chips in. With a few every now and then, scores some wicked goals. I've seen him score some really good finesse goals over the years. So I'm going to say McNeil that I would go with. Dad, do you know anyone that you would take from Everton? Realistic?
Yeah, a couple of players I'd definitely take from Everton, and Pickford's definitely one for me. What else do I like?
Any of the defenders? Tarkowski, anyone like that?
It's not too much, to be fair. Calvert-Lewin, definitely. That's it, really. Like more pay as well. Players
as much as he's a shithouse, he's a good player.
Yeah, like he's a sort of player that's fitting our squad. But other than that, they're all right players and that. But wouldn't take them over.
That's the thing. That's the thing I was looking at when I was saying it. I'd probably say Idrissa Gay because I know he can, be defensive and, obviously we ain't got Lukonga. So that's probably what I would say when it comes to that. Or McNeil. They're my main two because McNeil can score goals from that midfield position. So, yeah, one of them two for me. When it comes to that, Jackie's saying she agrees with your lineup. So there you go with that. I think Pickford is a good keeper. Personally, I don't get the criticism. Okay, he makes mistakes occasionally. It goes back to what I just said, doesn't it? You see when he plays for England, he is good. I think he's a decent keeper. And the thing with Everton as well, let's be real, yeah, they've got a fairly experienced defence, Tarkowski and a few others, but at the same time, it's still not a great defence, and he is getting shots peppered at him half the time. And yeah, I think there's a good keeper. Like I say, you've seen it when he's played for England. So yeah, and it always goes back to what I say when people talk about certain keepers' distribution. Where you say Allison there, Allison's can be shocking sometimes. When he's running out, you're like, what is he doing? Even Edison, I think he got away with it in the Champions League final for City. So you've seen it. You've seen it in the games. So yeah, that is that. There is that time, Dad. Like I say, you're not feeling confident. First or last, 3 o'clock game for a while. Obviously a double game week for us. How do you see the first game going against Everton at Goodison Park tomorrow?
I just think it's going to be similar to the West Ham game in a lot of aspects. The last time we played them, 92, they had Neville Southall in goal, Martin Keown, Peter Beardsley up front. We had Mickey Arthur playing for us, Brian Steen, that was a long time ago. Trevor Peake, I remember that guy. Could be Peake for us again. I think it's going to be close. I think you'll see a half decent performance from us, but both teams are going to show their lack. But I think that Pickford's going to just sort of save them a little bit, and I think that Calvert-Lewin's going to score for them, and it's going to be 1-0 to Everton. That's what I'm thinking.
That's fair enough. I remember saying a couple of weeks ago to myself, I could see this game literally going anyway. It's one of them. But after seeing that midweek, like I say, I know there's going to be changes, but still, even when, we are struggling to score, even when, your Morrises are in, it's really him. And Anderson, fair play to him, but, defenders scoring really, like Morris has only scored one more goal than him, do you know what I mean? And no one else is scoring in the league. Everton away, like I say, it can be a hostile place to go to. We haven't beaten them in 9 games. Like I say, another thing is, Everton really can't afford to go down. They really can't, because the administration, they could even go down again. They always find a way as well. We're not obviously happy to go down, but we'll be willing to sort of take it and bounce and progress and then come back even better. So for me, I'm gonna go over 1-1 though. I'm gonna go over 1-1. But I wouldn't be surprised if we lost 2-1, to be honest. I was flickering between them two scores, but it still won't be a opening win for us in our life in the Premier League. So, yeah, that's my prediction. Let's go through yours and the remaining comments. Spencer's gone with a 2-1 Everton. Yeah, I was thinking that. Like I say, I was thinking 1-1. Well, he's gone Everton. See, doesn't like him being a Liverpool fan, but obviously the Liverpool fans are hoping we get something, but I just can't see us winning the game. I really can't. And you just got to be realistic. You just got to be realistic with it all. Chris has gone 1-0 Everton. My prediction, I do apologise, lads, but I have to give my honest opinion as I always do. Don't apologise, mate.
That's what we try doing.
Saying it. Exactly. Big up YT. Been a while since seeing you in the chat, but he's gone 2-0 Luton. I mean, we would love that. Clean sheet or whatever. You can't complain. Even if it's a 1-0, I'd be sick. But like I say, if it's going to sound mad, but at the same time, it's not. If we got a draw and they didn't score, I wouldn't be surprised in a way. Like if it was 0-0 or something, because I'm not worried defensively. It's just that goal threat. Where are we getting that goal? That's the thing for me. His previous comment, by the way, was Luton going nuts at the moment. it's not looking good. It's not looking good. But Jackie's prediction, jeez. She has said, I think they'll beat us 3-0. But I pray we get a 2-1 result. Oh, yeah, any sort of result would be absolutely boss. But, jeez, yeah, no, fair enough. That's fair enough. I totally understand it. You know, where are we getting these goals from? You know, unless we get a penalty again. It's the only way it is looking at the moment. You know, let's be honest. When the game's dead and buried, because that's what we've seen. You know, yeah, we could have got a penalty against West Ham. Maybe it'd have been different. Probably would have been, but we didn't. You know, that's the bottom line. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, obviously we still, you know, back the boys. We're still here every week. You know, doing what we do. And obviously we'll be back again on Monday as well, and hopefully have a Burnley fan on for that as well. And yeah, we'll just do a reaction because it's a couple of days after. We'll just do a reaction and then get into the Burnley preview. But any final things you'd like to say on anything, Dad?
No, look, listen, like Luton, you know, sometimes they did play well in the last game against Wolves. You know, if they can replicate that kind of performance, then who knows? But we just need to see that now as fans, you know. I think that exit game yeah, we lost them other cup games previously, but this one felt different for me. It felt worrying, you know. So that's what's worrying me. But I'm happy to be proven wrong. You know, there is an opportunity there for us, especially if we can keep them quiet for 25 minutes and get the fans on their back, kind of thing. But we need to be doing that, and at the moment, I just think we're just falling short. And that Lokonga injury for me is pretty big, more than they're making up. You know, let's see if the person that comes in can do that. You know, it's only been a couple of games, etc. But you hired him for a specific reason, because for me, you believe that there was no one else at the club could do that necessarily. So let's see. It's unfortunate, but we'll see. Like, and if it's looking like we're gonna have to bring Campbell back from loan, or what we're gonna do?
Yeah, I know it's
it's a tester game as well in that respect, you know. So like, at home, it's not too bad, but away, and the Campbell can't do it all on his own. Certainly not.
no, and that's why we brought Lokonga in as well. You know, to help with that.
Yeah, but you just got to keep the faith and see what happens. It is what it is. Like, I'm enjoying it to a certain. I know it sounds stupid, but it reminds me of when I was younger. Like, these things happen. It's like, yeah, and then we'd surprise. We'd go out and beat Everton or beat whoever it was, and give ourselves hope and things like that. So it's still a thrill in its own right, because surviving in the Premier League is almost as good as getting promoted to the Premier League. So we'll see. We're still there. So as long as we're still in touching distance, then who knows? And that's our ultimate sort of aim and game. If we can do that, if we can get a draw, I'll be happy with a 0-0 ball draw. I'll be happy with that. We've got a great opportunity at home against Burnley. So let's see.
Yeah. Let's go through some last loaded comments. Almost said 1-1, but went 2-1 instead. Mate, I'm not going to lie. I was floating between 2-1 and 1-1. 2-1 to Everton. But I'll back us to get something, but not a win. I just, you know, people might call me, you know, negative or whatever, but I just can't see us winning. You know, I believe we'll score because Everton do concede. You know, even in the last two games they've won, they have conceded, but I just can't see us winning. I just can't. Not in this game. If it's at home, maybe, but I don't know, man. I just don't know. Chris says, I honestly wouldn't be shocked if Luton win, though. As I mentioned with Everton earlier, no one trusts them to be consistent. It's going to be interesting. You know, will it be not third time lucky, but, you know, that's the saying. Will they get 3 wins in a row? Which, like I said, I don't know the last time they've done that. So we'll see. We'll see. 2 games in 4 days for Luton. Yikes, that's rough. Yeah, massive. The games are absolutely massive, like I said as well. Any game's massive, for us because we are going to be in the battle, but especially these ones because they are teams we're going to be in and around, this season. So absolutely massive. And yes, it is. Yes, it is the game in hand from the Burnley game that was meant to be the second game of the season. But obviously, Kenilworth Road wasn't officially finished. With that, YT says, I think relegation is the best thing. Go down, build a structure to be able to fight. I don't think our team, maybe my opinion. Maybe people might disagree. Well, I definitely agree at the moment because it's not clicking. The new players are coming in, are still gelling. You can see that. But I've said it. If we do go down, for me, we should, be fighting for that top. At least we should be fighting in the top 6 for me again. Like we have been. So we'll see, and the core of the squad will still be there. And the thing is, as well, they'll have that Premier League experience. So they will probably. It's going to sound mad because we done 6 last season, but they'll probably do better than last season. Do you know what I mean? Even though we went up, obviously, playoff final went up, but you know what I mean. It's one of them. It could be, mate. It could be. Obviously, we're not going to get into it too much now, but it could be. But then again, Company is one of these managers so far in the Premier League. Yeah, they're not doing great, Burnley, but he knows what Kenilworth Road's like, so he might know what to expect, sort of thing. And not a lot of the managers have that yet, so it could factor Burnley as well. I'm not going to lie, but it depends how we both do. Burnley's game's going to be difficult as well, more difficult, I'd say. Newcastle are, a better side than Newcastle. No, did I say Newcastle better side than Newcastle? Yeah. Newcastle better side than Everton. Sorry. So yeah, that is that. Yeah, no, I know he is. That's going to be a very interesting fight. Vidal Riley, obviously, he's going for the English title, cruiserweight title, and yeah, it's quite mad actually because the guy he's fighting is from Liverpool, and obviously he's Vidal Riley's a Tottenham fan. Obviously, they're playing before that. Obviously, so that's going to be interesting. But yeah, hopefully he wins, man. That'll be pretty sick. So yeah, there we go with that. But yeah, that is the Hatter Show episode 121 done. So obviously the Exeter game obviously reviewed, and then obviously the Everton game previewed. Current like count before we end the stream is on. I'll tell you in a second. I'll check new subscribers while we're waiting. I know we did gain a new subscriber yesterday. So big up to yourself, whoever that was. Obviously, as for content, nothing until the next Hatter Show. Literally, Hatter Shows upon Hatter Shows at the moment, but obviously, because they've been 3 o'clock games, the Exeter game wasn't obviously televised or anything. I haven't got down to doing watch-alongs, but as it stands, the next one is still that Tottenham game, as it stands for me. But yeah, it's not telling me the like count on my computer. It's been a nightmare, so I'll just have a look on here. 14 likes, so big up to yourselves. Don't forget to smash that like button if you haven't already. Do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Do subscribe to the other channel as well, T-Boys TV Extra. And if you do want to follow me across any of my socials, make sure you do if you're not already as well. Links to them are in the description. And yeah, until Monday, where we react to this and then preview Burnley, we will see you lot in a bit. So until then, take care and peace.